the Montreal Expos.
To the mic.
He's the ace of the staff. Let's welcome in Logan Webb. Let's bring a friend of mine in, Pat Burrow. Pat, how are you today?
Bill, I'm doing great, man. Glad to be on with you.
Giants fans, this is Extra Innings with Bill Laskey.
Sponsored by Lenardi's Markets of the Bay Area. Quite simply, the best.
On your exclusive home of the San Francisco Giants. KNBR 104.5 FM and 680 AM. The sports leader.
Here's the 0-1 pitch. He drives this one down the left field line, going back on it to the wall. It is gone! Devers goes deep against the Red Sox. His first Giants home run to the opposite field. And it makes it 3-0 Giants. And a huge ovation for the new Giants slugger. He does it against his old pal. A two-run homer straight down the left field line, really. And with a lot of carry, he hit that ball hard the other way. Cool moment for Rafael Devers.
All right, welcome into a Saturday edition of the Extra Inning Postgame Show with Bill Laskey. Giants hold on at Oracle Park today to even the series with the Boston Red Sox. 1-1, the final game tomorrow at 1:05 with Robbie Ray on the hill against Lucas Giolito. We'll talk about that matchup later. But the Giants held on to a 3-2 win with only getting up 4 hits. They only had 4 hits today. 2 of them were long balls, one by Elliot Ramos, his 13th. And, of course, the one we've been waiting for, Rafael Devers goes the left field opposite way for his 16th home run, in which was the game winner after an error was made by David Hamilton to get Kisner on. And sure enough, the home run by Devers made it 3-0. 2 runs in the top of the 9th inning off Camilo Duvall. The tying run was at third base, and a ground ball by Gonzalez ended the game. And the San Francisco Giants go home a winner, and they are now 43-34. When you look at what this team has done, one-run games, it seems like they're in a lot of them. 77 games they played. Would you believe 34 one-run games they played? 34, and they're 19-15, 19 wins and 15 losses. And it was a nail-biter against Camilo Duvall. Gives up 3 hits in a row, and everybody's freaking out on the mound. J.P. Martinez comes out, nobody out, and he wiggles out of it, and Camilo Duvall gets his 12th save. And I'm so glad he did, because the pitchers that pitched before him, Landon Roop coming back off a tremendous outing today. And when you look at what he did, 6 innings, 3 hits, no earned runs, 3 walks, 7 strikeouts. And his last outing was his worst outing in an orange and black uniform against L.A., where he only went an inning and 2/3, 4 hits, 5 walks, 6 earned runs. So there was a lot of determination out of him, and you could see it right out of the first inning. He threw 20 pitches in the first inning, and then after that he settled in, 6 in the second, 10 in the third, 20 in the fourth, 17 and 17 for a total of 90 pitches, 56 for strikes. And we always talk about it, and I'm going to continue to throw it out there for pitchers that listen. First pitch strikes, he was 12 for 23, and that was a good number, as Andrew Kisner and him worked very well on 5 pitches he threw today. Of course, the sinker was his big pitch. He threw 34 of those. The curveball, which was really sharp today once again, 24, 20 changeups, 11 cutters, a new pitch he's trying to work in there, and just 1 cross-seam fastball. The velocity was there. The sinker was 94. Good movement on the outside corner to lefties, as the Red Sox have a ton of lefties in the lineup. He went with the curveball, which was an off-speed pitch. Really dialed in today, and a lot of them, once he got the strikeout going, he had 7 strikeouts. All of them were swinging strikeouts. So a lot of swingers on the Boston Red Sox, and he ended up pulling up 7 of them. Then the bullpen took it over, and Randy Rodriguez once again was stellar. He goes 1 clean inning, striking out 1. He only threw 9 pitches, 6 for strikes. Had a nice 1-2-3 inning. 2 times of those 3 hitters he had strike 1. Tyler Rogers once again comes in and has a nice 1-2-3 inning. What can you say about Tyler Rogers? A ground ball back to him, a ground ball to short, and a ground ball to second, and he throws 10 pitches, 7 for strikes. 6 up, 6 down with Rodriguez and Rogers before Duvall came in the 9th inning. And Duvall just got the ball up, and we always see this when Camilo comes in. If he can locate that 2-seamer that he throws and the cross-seamer, he devastates. But today he got the ball up. He got a ball down to a lefty, Abreu, who had a sharp base hit to right field, the third hit in that inning. And it was an 0-2 pitch, and it was down and in. Maybe it wouldn't even be a strike, but it was enough for Abreu to knock it down to right field. And that was really the first run that scored. Story before that got a base hit. The double leading off the inning by Roman Anthony, the 21-year-old superstar they had, and they were cooking. This is one thing that happened in yesterday's game with Birdsong. These guys are up there swinging the bat, and they continue to keep fumbling at you. What you look at what Landon Roop did today, kept him off balance, and that was one thing you can say about what he did today compared to what he did against the Dodgers series, where he couldn't just get the ball in the zone. Today he manufactured only 3 walks, none of those hurt him. Got a nice double play in the second inning, and he just continued to stay in the zone. And what a great outing. He ends up getting his 5th win. He's 5-5 now, and Camilo Duvall holds on, and he gets his 12th save. But, of course, all the focus goes to the home run ball that Rafael Devers hit. We've been waiting for it. Of course, Rafi's been swinging extremely hard. A lot of balls out of the zone. Today he took an 0-1 pitch from Brian Bio, and what he did, he drove it out to left field, something that we know that he can do. And that was his 216th home run in his career, his 52nd home run to left field. A very cool stat right there, because we see him. He swings late. You can see how that leg comes in, and he just swings so hard, and he covers the plate very well. He hit one ball in McCovey Cove, but it was foul. He's starting to get the feel. You start feeling him a little bit. One strikeout was called on the inside corner. It looked like a ball. He's not complaining. This is one thing I've really watched him. Rafael just looks back at the umpire and walks back to home plate. A very top professional in his 9th year in Major League Baseball. And you know he was happy when he hit that home run against the team that traded him for the Boston Red Sox. And tomorrow they're going to go at it one more time. Robbie Ray, 8-2 with a 2.6 earned run average, going against Lucas Giolito. And Giolito's been throwing extremely well lately. He's had 2 6-inning games. One's against Seattle and one against Tampa Bay. Both games he only gave up 3 hits, no earned runs in both of those games. If you remember the name, he pitched 6 years with the Chicago White Sox, and he came over to Boston over the winter. So a good game tomorrow will be the rubber match, another 105 start right here on KNBR. But I got a great show lined up today. It's going to be a great interview show. I end up talking to Wade Boggs. Of course, Wade Boggs, a premier player, a Hall of Famer. He's been a National Baseball Hall of Fame. He was a first ballot Hall of Famer. He's also in the Boston Red Sox Hall of Fame. His number 26 has been retired. When you look at what he did in his career, 18 seasons he played in Major League Baseball. 12 of them were All-Stars in the American League. Of course, when he went over to New York Yankees, he won a World Series in 1996. 2-time Gold Glove winner, 8-time Silver Slugger Award winner, and a 5-time American League batting champ. You don't want to miss that interview. That was a fun one for me. And then the other one I have is Andrew Bailey. Of course, Bailey was a pitching coach under Gabe Kapler with the San Francisco Giants. He moved over to the Red Sox his second year. And I get his take on what they absorbed in the Rafael Devers trade, and that was Jordan Hicks and Kyle Harrison. And it's great to hear what the Red Sox think of both of these pitchers and the 2 minor leaguers they also got in that trade. Steve Kroner joins me. Of course, he was supposed to be on last night, and of course, Sports Phone KNBR was such a late game last night. I didn't have a chance to bring him on, so I'll get to talk to him a little bit live to see what he thought about this game, especially how Landon Roop bounced back after that Dodger series. 415-808-KNBR if you want to get on the phone lines. Let's talk Giants baseball for a few minutes and get some calls coming in on a beautiful Saturday afternoon here in Northern California. I'm Bill Laskey. This is the Extra Inning Postgame Show. We'll be right back here on KNBR, the sports leader.
Hi, it's former Major Leaguer Buddy Biancalana. It was my zone experience in the World Series in which I played the best of my career that led to being the founder of Zone Motion, the only mental training program proven through research and studies to enhance performance and expedite development for athletes of any age. Whether you're a professional or any level amateur, regardless of your sport, Zone Motion is for you. You can check out this life-changing program at zonemotion.com. And go Giants!
You're listening to the former Giants righty. It's KNBR Extra Innings with Bill Laskey.
Sponsored by Lenardi's Markets of the Bay Area. Quite simply, the best.
Heard on your Apple HomePod by saying play KNBR.
No, han pasado muchas cosas, pero gracias a Dios pudimos salir ganador hoy y pude aportar algo al equipo y me siento bastante contento por eso.
Yes, a lot of things have transpired during this week, but just very happy that I was able to contribute to our first win with the Giants.
Back on the Extra Inning post-game show on a beautiful Saturday afternoon. Why not? It's even better. The Giants won a game. They're now 1-1 against the Boston Red Sox, 2-3 on the homestand. One more tomorrow against the Red Sox, 3 against Miami. And would you believe it? Once that series is over against Miami, 81 games will be done halfway through the season. Boy, the season is just taking off fast. So we look at today's game, and I want to highlight one hitter who's really doing a great job, and Casey Schmidt. When you're looking at what he's done since Matt Chapman's been injured, 11 games he's played in. When you look about the numbers, they're kind of quiet winners here. He had 2 hits yesterday, 2 hits the night before. Today he goes 1 for 3. And when you're looking overall numbers, when you look at Casey Schmidt, 13 for 37. 3 home runs, 11 RBIs, and in this homestand, 6 for 17. And he's really hitting the ball all over, going to right field, right center field, pulling the ball. And he's playing fantastic defense for filling in with Matt Chapman. Before the game, Matt Chapman was taking some ground balls with the glove. He wasn't throwing. Of course, the injury came to his throwing hand, and they're taking a look at it. They're probably seeing how this team's making it. If they're continuing to win, slow him down a little bit, because Matt Chapman is going to be so important for this team moving on. 415-808 KNBR. Got a few people on hold. Let's get to the calls. Let's go to Barry. He's in Mill Valley. Barry, you're on the Extra Inning postgame show with Bill Laskey. A win the Giants needed today. It was close, but they ended up pulling out 3-2.
Hi, Bill.
How are you, Barry?
I'm great. Thank you. I'd like to draw on your experience as a major league pitcher. And I have maybe a dumb question, but it came to me as I was watching Willie Adames for a while, and now Tyler Fitzgerald, just looking totally overmatched in some situations. And I know they've got batting coaches to help them out, but I wondered, do pitchers ever try to help hitters get out of a slump?
Not really. I mean, it's very, you might have conversations on, the slider, the break of the slider, how sharp the slider is. I think both of those guys are seeing that slider, and they're not going to right field enough. That's one of the biggest things I've always seen from a right-hand hitter. If you're pushing my slider to right field, I have to go inside more. But I think it's what these guys are doing. They're pushing that ball away. They may show him both of these hitters in. Tyler Fitzgerald's getting jammed a little bit. He struck out on a ball inside. Willie Adames, I thought the strike call that was up a little bit was a ball. But these guys are swinging through too many good pitches. Tyler Fitzgerald had the first pitch. He missed completely. Willie Adames had a couple of them that he overswung at. Both these guys are struggling. When you're looking at Willie Adames, he's just hitting a little over 200. Tyler Fitzgerald, 233. He's been in a slump for a while. But when you look on the defensive side, Barry, both of these guys have picked it up on the defensive side up the middle. And I think that's what you got to just weigh your game on, because both of these guys are needed on the defense. You keep saying sooner or later, that terminology is getting old already because we're in the middle of June. Let's say, let's get them going.
Yeah, definitely. And they're both very capable, I believe, eventually. But it seems like they just can't lay off of that slider down and away.
Mm-hmm. It's a quick pitch. That's one of the things. A couple of these guys had some quick sliders, and it's that quick break at the end that dives on that outside corner. That's what I made my living on, sinker inside, slider away. And once I saw that front shoulder pulling, meaning going toward left field, I'm going to throw you sliders all day. Once I see you staying deep in the box and you're standing and pushing that ball to right field, that tells me you're seeing the spin. As a pitcher against a hitter, if I'm seeing you pull, I'm going to throw you sliders all day. And what I'll do is I'll inch it off the outside corner a little more, because you're not adjusting to the spin.
That's why I was thinking, Bill, that a pitcher is in a special kind of position to advise a hitter, because you're trying to get him out. You know what you would do to try to get him out. But
yeah, I was talking to, Barry, I was talking about this the other day, and it was really good pitching conversation when I'm pitching and I see a hitter hit the ball squarely back right behind the umpire. I mean, really a hard hit foul ball. And the first thing I'm saying, he just missed it because he's under the ball just maybe a half an inch. Now, if I'm going right-hand hitter, now if he hits down the right field line, he's late for the pitch. So then I know I can go a little farther outside because he's not trying to push the ball. He's late. Now, if he pulls the ball to third base or to the third base side, now he's on it. He's in front of the pitch. So as a pitcher, you have to adjust when you're seeing these hitters hit the ball foul, because foul balls mean more than me striking you out. Foul balls tell me if you're picking up the spin, the fastball, the changeup. That's what's telling a pitcher at the big league level about the hitter. The catcher's kind of feeling it out if they're jamming them, if you go in tight, if you go away, you can always elevate a fastball up and something down in the zone. You want to change the sight zone of every hitter. That's what I've always been talking about pitching. You have to change the sight of the hitter. If you can do that continuously, then you can go outside or inside. It's a gameplay. It's a total gameplay. If you're a pitcher that can spot the ball, and you should be able to at the big league level, you can work your magic. And that's what Landon Roop did today. I thought he really pinpointed a few pitches.
Yeah. Great analysis, Bill. Thank you very much for the show, and good to talk to you.
Yeah, thanks, Barry. Thanks for talking to me, and thanks for calling in. But, you know, we talk about pitchers, and we talk about the mentality of a pitcher, how they go after certain hitters, and then you look at a Randy Rodriguez who's really just a two-pitch pitcher, a hard slider, and about a 96, 98-mile-an-hour fastball, maybe even higher when he lets loose. So those kind of pitchers, hitters know it's either going to be a fastball or slider, but his slider breaks down. It doesn't break sideways. That's what makes that pitch so good for him, because he get ground balls on it. Today, he was fabulous. A little pop-up that Rafaela hit that Smith came over almost into the dugout and caught. That was a great play by Dominic Smith. And then Meyer strikes him out on a beautiful slider down and away, a fly ball by Wong. And the next thing you know, he's walking off the mound, and he was right in the zone for 9 pitches. 9 pitches he threw in a 1-2-3 inning, 6 of them for strikes, and he punched out a guy. So these are the things as pitchers come in, that's the mark they want to make. I'm coming right at you. I'm coming with the best stuff, and you have to do something against it. If you don't, I had a nice 1-2-3 inning. Tyler Rogers, similar, and Tyler Rogers uses more off-speed pitch. And from his arm motion, the ball sails. He can get outside corner to a lefty. He can go away on a right-hander. But it's the off-speed pitches. It's the soft stuff, and that's where he gets a lot of soft contact. Today, 3 ground balls. And both of these guys come from 98 to about 86 with fastballs, with a slider that's dipping and a slider that's going east to west. Hell yeah, that's a good bullpen, and that's a great setup if you go 7-8. And, of course, Camilo Duvall comes right back with flamethrower. So Bob Melvin, I called him a puppet master. I still will, because he's using his bullpen in all different ways, all different innings. And today, the bullpen held on, even though Camilo gave up 2 runs in the top of the ninth. Let's go to Sean in San Rafael. Sean, you're on the Extra Inning post-game show on a Saturday. Giants get a win. They're now 43-34.
Hey, Bill, how's it going? Yeah, I'm really proud of the pitching today and the level of focus and the mental toughness in the 9th inning. Great job for Leonard Roop. I think the front office is going to watch to see who that third person is in the starting rotation. I mean, it's between Roop and Birdsong. I think that, Verlander's got some things to work on. But I'm wondering what situation or direction we go to with trade market. Do we get an extra arm for bullpen? Do we need to buy a bat? How much does another bat cost? Is it cheaper to get a bullpen piece and send like Tristan Beck back down the minors?
Well, it all depends on the whole key, Sean, is what Buster Posey, Bob Melvin, the front office wants to go at. Are they going to give these guys more opportunities at second base? When Chapman comes back to play third base, I think you might see Casey Schmidt at second base just because he's hitting the ball very well. A good defensive player, too. That gives you another bat. Tyler Fitzgerald's gone cold. That's the question there.
Yeah, those things can change over a while because you can't just continue to have 3 AAA hitters at the bottom of the lineup. Something will kind of play itself out, hopefully. I'm just worried about.
I'm sure they're looking at. Sean, I'm sure they're looking at second base. That's an issue. There's going to be some pieces out there when you start looking at some of the lower ranked teams in a division. I just don't know how much more spending they could do. They took on Devers' contract. I had Shayna Rubin on the other night. She said about $5 or $10 million more in the luxury tax, and they're still under it. So there is some movement if they want to go out and try to find a piece, a middle infielder. And this is something they're going to look at, but the contract they picked up on Devers is till 2033 with 10 years after that deferred. So that was a good move by the structure of the contract, how it was done, and you get up a top 10 hitter. So now you start looking at different areas, what you want to build in. With Rafael maybe playing first base, you have Wilmer Flores off the bench. You also have a great glove with Dominic Smith at first base, so the triangle there is what Bob Melvin wants to do. The big piece that's going to come back is Chapman. Once Matt Chapman comes back, into 100% healthy, this lineup's going to gel. There's a little more spark that's going to be in the middle of their order.
Yeah, I just hope that the regulars they get paid enough. I mean, I don't want to get on how much they get paid, but can you make an adjustment and go hit line drives to right field? I mean, it sounds so easy, but it seems like they're getting under it. They're messing around with the sliders, and it's just the way it goes.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, Sean. I think the opposite way, too. You look at Jung-Hoo Lee, and Jung-Hoo Lee's getting under the ball, a lot of fly balls, a lot of ground balls a second, and he's a guy that can spray the ball all over. When you look at his numbers going in from yesterday, 5 for 40, his numbers are under 200 for the month of June. He's just gone stale, and I think the swing path of Jung-Hoo Lee has changed, and he needs to spray the ball and go to left field more. And just like you talked about, maybe Adames needs to go to right field more. More hitters need to go a little more to right field. The guy that continues to keep hitting well, Elliot Ramos, with a solo home run today. He's hitting the ball extremely well, 285 so far. Good spot for him. Maybe make the National League All-Star team. I like how Bob Melvin changed it with Devers batting second now. This was a opportunity. I had it last Sunday when he was traded over. He was batting second for the Red Sox, and he moved him up. He had him in third. I just like the second hitter being the best hitter you have. He's going to come up the fourth and fifth time, and I like what he did. I like how he had Yaz leading off. Yeah. Then he had Devers and Ramos. I like Ramos in the three-hole more than Devers. I want Devers in front of him to drive in a run or get on base. We'll find out. I mean, Bob Melvin's switching, and he's trying to find a lineup that's going to be consistent. But I'm still going to go back, Sean. Once Chapman comes back, you're going to have a little bit more offense in this lineup.
Well, thanks for the call, Bill, and have a great day.
Sean, thanks for the call, and thanks for your insight. We're going to take a quick break here. Got a few calls on hold. Stay right there. 415-808-KNBR if you want to join the party today. The Giants win 3-2 against the Boston Red Sox. They even up the series 1-1 with the rubber game tomorrow, and then Monday's an off day. Tomorrow, Robbie Ray going after his 16th start. He's 8-2 with a 2.6 earned run average, going against Lucas Giolito, and Giolito's 3-1 with a 4.7. Like I said earlier, his last two outings, he's gone 6 innings against Seattle and Tampa Bay, not giving up a run. So a good battle tomorrow, and we're going to have it right here, first pitch on KNBR. My name's Bill Laskey. The show is called Extra Inning Postgame Show. We're going to take a quick break, come back with more on KNBR, the sports leader.
From the mound to the mic, this is KNBR Extra Innings with Bill Laskey.
Sponsored by Lenardi's Markets of the Bay Area. Quite simply, the best.
Hear him by saying to your smart speaker, play KNBR.
He sets, he throws, and a drive into deep left field. This thing is crushed. It's at the track, it's at the wall, it is gone. Raffy, an opposite field homer off of Bayo, and it is 3-0 Giants. It was a fastball, and Raffy rode it the other way. His first Giant home run gives them a 3-run lead.
Back on the Extra Inning post-game show, that was the voice of a Boston Red Sox announcer. I don't know who it was, but we caught it off of their site, and didn't sound too excited there by Rafael Devers hitting that home run to left field, opening up the game for the San Francisco Giants to make it 3-0. The Red Sox scored 2 in the top of the ninth, but the Giants prevailed to get a 3-2 win. Only had 4 hits, 2 home runs, of course, by Elliot Ramos and Rafael Devers, a solo base hit by Dominic Smith, and a base hit by Casey Schmidt. So the offense still is struggling, but they had enough to hold on, and they're now 43-34. 17 wins and 15 losses against American League. At Oracle Park, they're now 24-14. Still a good series with a game tomorrow, a big rubber matchup, 105, and we'll find out what's going to happen in that game with Lucas Giolito against Robbie Ray. Monday, the Giants will be off, and the Miami Marlins will be here for 3 games to end the 9-game homestand. All right, let's get back to the calls. Let's go to Bob in Saratoga. Bob, you're on the Extra Inning postgame show with Bill Laskey. Hope your Saturday's doing well.
It is, Bill. And, another great win, another one-run win. We've got to keep doing this. But I wanted to feature or talk about another subject which I think is important for the future, and that's scouting. Over the years, we've lost so many guys that grew up Giant fans who we did not draft. So I hope Buster, and I'm sure he is focusing on this when we do our scouting. And just to name a few, between Stanford and Cal as colleges, and then we got all the great high schools, Sarah and Bellarmine and St. Francis and Mitty and I go every year to an awards dinner by the Hot Stove League of Santa Clara County, and they give awards out. This is in January before the season even starts, so they go to spring training. And every year there's a pitcher for the that's from Mitty, and he went to Stanford, and every year he gets the award of best guy from the Bay Area that is pitching in the major leagues. I can never remember his name, but he's with the Canadian team, I think, right? And he beat us this year when they pitched against us. But we over the years we didn't get Barry Bonds when he came out of Sarah. We didn't get Pat the Bat. We didn't get Randy Johnson, who was a Bay Area guy.
Oh, there's a whole hell of a. You're absolutely right, Bob. There's been a lot of great players that have gone to other organizations through Northern California. One of the beds of good baseball, as you're talking about. Yeah. And you go to high school, you even go to junior colleges. There's so many great junior colleges up in Northern California. Yeah. And then you got to go even wider from Reno to Sacramento, even going down south. There's no question. Yeah. But you know what's happened, Bob, is scouting isn't eyes anymore. It's all analytics. So these guys will watch analytics of hitters and pitchers. It'll be on a computer. Everything is analytics. And then when they see some guys that are very interesting, then they'll send somebody out. That has changed a lot over the years.
Yeah, you're right.
They really cut salaries and payrolls down from that. That was, you know, when you talk about all the past, that was the cool thing. Even going back when I was getting drafted and scouted when I played in the Cape Cod League, you'd have 20, 30 scouts at every game. And, I mean, that's how the Kansas City Royals scouted me. Kansas City didn't go to Ohio to watch me pitch. I had to go to Cape Cod to get their eyes on me. But that was back, you know, you're talking 70s and 80s. Now, the Central Scouting Bureau, everybody puts all the numbers in, the analytics come in, and that's when you really start seeing the top players. And, of course, in Omaha, with the College World Series, everybody's out there. Coastal Carolina against LSU, some great players. And I looked, Bob, on the top 25 players that could be drafted in the June draft, and most of them this year are going to be out of college. So that's going to be interesting to see how fast they move through organizations.
Yeah. When this group gives an award to the best umpire from the Bay Area, It's always the Dodger scout, never a Giant scout. So there's something wrong, okay? Just right there.
You got to change that, Bob. You might have to throw a check in there for a little donation.
Well, I don't think that's going to do it, but you have much more influence than we do. And at the right time, you might bring it up. But scouting is so important for the future so we can build teams like we did that won the 3 World Series. I mean, that was the key.
Sure.
Okay.
And it builds
Thanks,
your
Bill.
momentum in the minor leagues, right, Bob? It builds that group of players that are constantly moving up the order. You know, where Bryce Eldridge is now in AAA. And you've got a whole bunch of them. Grant McCray is another one. There are some really young players that have moved up the ladder through good scouting. And then once they get in the system, now they got all the good coaching and all the things at Papago Park when they go to Arizona to work out 12 months a year. It's gotten a lot better over the years, and I think, as you say, Buster Posey will make that even better.
I hope so, because a lot of these guys want to bring their families to watch them play at Oracle, and it's just a little advantage we would have at getting those guys that we determine are the best players to bring in.
Well, you got one of the good guys in the minor leagues now, Randy Wynn, who went to, I do believe, Santa Clara. He played basketball and baseball there, so maybe he'll have eyes on Santa Clara a little bit more.
That's a great idea to get him in this thought process. Yeah.
Sure. Well, thanks, Bob. Thanks for the call. It's always a pleasure talking to you. Let's go out to Walnut Creek and talk to Dennis. Dennis, you're on an extra inning post-game show. Giants win a thriller today, 3-2, Dennis. That's their 34th one-run game. How about that? You there, Dennis? Hello. I guess we lost him. Let's go to Roy in San Leandro. Roy, you're on the extra inning post-game show with Bill Laskey. Haven't talked to you in a while. Roy, how are you?
Oh, pretty good, Bill. How's it going?
Well, good win today. I mean, some great pitching. Landon Roop had a disaster of a game against L.A. I was waiting to see how he would come back, but, boy, he threw the ball well today. Good movement on his pitches, good first pitch strikes. And I really thought Kisner called a good game for him.
Yeah, he did. You know. But the question in down to me, though, Bill, and, you know, I'm not really trying to be critical or anything, but this guy, that kid yesterday that was out there on the mound for the Giants, Birdsong, I'd give him one more start. And then if he does the same thing that he does like in that game yesterday, I would consider putting Beck, because actually, in all honesty, Beck has better control than Birdsong.
Yeah, but Beck is not really a starter anymore, Roy. He's more of a middle reliever, 2-inning guy. They're not going to do anything with Hayden Birdsong. He's 23 years old. This kid's going to be in the starting rotation. The last few outings, those middle innings, when they come around the second and third time, he's had problems throwing good quality strikes. Yesterday, he gets the first 7 guys up, gives up a double, gives up a home run, and all of a sudden the velocity's up, but everything's up. And the Red Sox, they're aggressive. This is a young team that really pounds the ball hard.
Yeah, they do, Bill. I admit that. I mean, I can remember back when I was just a little boy. I mean, coming up, and we used to go to the not only Candlestick, but over there at the Coliseum when the A's were there. And it's almost to the last man is out with the Red Sox. They hit and they play hard. But what I'm saying, though, is that, you know, I was just saying Beck, even though you said that, he has better control and he gets the ball in place. Whereas I'm
going to say yes and no to that, Roy. There's times that he's thrown a ball better, and there's times where he's hung the curveball. He's more of a two-pitch pitcher. Of course, he's got a cutter. He's down in AAA. He pitched inconsistent up here when he was here. I like Tristan Beck. Don't get me wrong. I think he's got quality stuff also, but he's not a starting pitcher. If you're going to have a starting pitcher come out of this rotation, you're going to see Carson Wisenhunt fill that void. He's been the best pitcher in AAA, and he's a number 2 prospect. So that's what you're going to have if one of these guys go down.
That was my next question about Wisenhunt, because I think actually going forward, the Giants need not only another left-handed starter, but they also either that or else they need a left-handed reliever. But also, too, Bill, this is what I also wanted to ask you, not just the left-handed starters reliever. So this year in the draft, don't you think, in all honesty, though, Bill, I'm not just trying to get you to agree with me, But don't you think the Giants should go ahead and try to do their homework and scout on the back catcher? Come on now, Bill. I mean, it's,
I think catching is. No, I'm going to agree, Roy. I think catching is a big miss in this whole organization right now. In AAA, you got a couple of guys that are injured, a couple of guys that have been more or less journeymen. They've been bouncing around different teams. They really do not have a quality catcher in AAA. You see Kisner up here. You saw Porter up here. A backup catcher. They had Murphy. Murphy's been injured for 2 years. They gave him $8 million. He hasn't even played more than 10 games.
Right.
So that was a big miss on Farhan Zaidi picking him up. But you're absolutely right. Patrick Bailey is your number one catcher. Kisner has played in the big leagues. His bat's slow right now. Decent catcher, good framer, good call of game. But I'm right there with you. No, I am going to agree from a Bill Laskey to a Roy. I believe catching is going to be something they're going to have to take a look at.
Okay, Bill. And I just wanted to say, I look forward to seeing this kid, Wisenhunt. But, I mean, from what I've seen of him, a friend of mine living in Sacramento said he can be real good. He can be
he's getting real good. Good fastball, and he's got a nice sharp slider, a curveball. But the big pitch, Roy, is his changeup. He really throws it masterfully. Now he's throwing it in all different counts, throws it in the front, throws it in the back. I did a nice interview with him earlier in the season, and I'll probably pick up on him and around All-Star break to see how he's doing. He threw like 5 straight games, 7 innings or more. He threw in Salt Lake City, of course, a tough place to pitch, through 5 shutout innings, gave up some runs in the 6th inning. But he's the guy on the mark. He was one of the names that the Red Sox were trying to grab him or Eldritch, and Buster Posey said those were off the table. So, of course, Kyle Harrison was the other big name, 23-year-old, that got into it in a trade and got traded. But, Roy, thanks for the call, man. It's always great catching up with you. Hope you're well.
Yeah, same here, Bill. Okay.
All right. Thanks, Roy. Let's go out to Walnut Creek again and catch him, my buddy Dennis. Dennis, do you have your phone on this time?
Well, I just paid my bill, so we should be good.
All right. Well, I'm glad you did that, Dennis. Thanks for the call today. How are you?
I'm doing all right, but I got to tell you, I just ordered a defibrillator on Amazon. I can't get over this Duvall. I mean, my goodness gracious, this guy's going to give me a heart attack. I mean,
well, how about the 34 one-run games, Dennis? The 34 one-run games in 77 games they played. I think they got to score a few more runs.
Oh yeah, no, this is ridiculous. One guy, I forget who it was, but he was batting 085. I think it was the catcher. I'm not sure, but
yeah, it was Kisner. He's only got 20. He only had 21 at bats, so you can't really look at that number. The numbers you want to look at, of course, is Willie Adames. He's got close to 285 at bats, 58 hits, and he's only hitting about 205. Yeah. He is getting better. The ball's coming off his bat a little more livelily. But at the same time, he's just he's not getting key hits at all. The runners in scoring position seem like he's up there all the time, and he cannot drive them in.
No, you're absolutely right. I'm just kind of disappointed because they have so many situations. I think it was yesterday where they had the bases loaded 3 times. Nothing.
Mm-hmm.
We're just not hitting the ball. I don't understand it. They don't look sharp. I mean, we had a month there.
Well, the bats just got to come alive. The month of June, Dennis, they have just been struggling with runners in scoring position, and numbers just keep, growing and growing. Yesterday I threw out numbers 7 for 50 in their last 60 games, 8 for 58, and yesterday 2 for 10. You can't continue to keep winning games by 1 run. You have to get some better at bats, some better adjustments. And my biggest answer is put the ball in play and see what happens.
Exactly. Well, I got to say one thing. Brandon Rope pitched a stellar game. And, I mean, guys like that, come on, you got to give your pitcher like him and Webb, some of these guys, more run support. I know it's easier said than done, but from a fan perspective, just disappointing because, the kid looked so good. I mean, he was just stellar. I was very impressed by him. So anyway, but
Logan Webb is just taking over the staff. He's your stopper. He's going to go out there and give you 7 innings at all times. I was looking at his numbers the other night. In 16 starts, Dennis, 8 of them, he's gone 6 times 7 innings and 2 times 8 innings. So he's eating up innings. But yet, when you look at his record, he's 7-5. He could easily have 10 wins by now.
Exactly. He's kind of our Matt Cain of 2025. I mean, he's just a hard luck pitcher.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm going to be calling him Matt Cain. I think we might have to name it Logan Webb now, because Logan Webb seems like he's getting more of those one-run game losses than Matt Cain did.
I know. Well, I don't know. That's why I called you. I figured you'd have it figured out by now. What's going on with these guys?
Well, I don't have my crystal ball out to find out how do we get out of the runners in scoring position, but I'm out here trying to get my hitters here with the Giants make contact, hit the ball, put the ball in play, and see what happens. And look what happened today. Kisner hits a ground ball. Hamilton misses it, and Rafi Devers hits a 2-run home run, and they end up winning on an unearned run.
Yeah, well, even yesterday, the ninth inning, bases loaded up. I know, but I'm just saying, base hit would have really changed the dynamics of that.
Well, Dennis, thanks for the call, man. I appreciate your call. It's always a pleasure talking to you. Let's go out to Hawaii and talk to my buddy Bert. Bert, how are you, my friend? Aloha.
Hey, hi, Bill. How are you doing? All's well?
Good. After a win, it's always great to do a post-game show after a win. The loss last night was a tough one. I did Sports Phone KNBR in that 7-5 loss where they had an early lead and they just couldn't hold it. Hayden Birdsong just struggled in the middle innings once again.
Yeah. Okay, so actually what I wanted to just talk about, and sorry if this was discussed earlier, I kind of just joined the your broadcast here. So, but anyway, regarding starting pitching, I mean, I hate to be like that, but I know Verlander's a Hall of Famer, but he ain't going to last the season, I don't think. And so we do need to find somebody.
I think he's a concern also. I'm right there with you, Bert. It's just his last outing, the first time out there after some time on the IL. Of course, he's going to have to get back out there and fight some more. Of course, he's on paternity leave. His wife just had a baby boy. But he's going to come in next week and maybe throw against Miami or the White Sox. And he's got to go more than 4 innings. These starters have to get into that 5th and 6th inning. You only got a couple when you look at Robbie Ray and Logan Webb that are getting deep in the games. Today, I mean, a great outing by Landon Roop going 6 innings, 90 pitches. But you got to get better. These guys have to get less pitches per inning and push them into the game a little more.
Yeah, and that's why I think Verlander he's been, and again he's a Hall of Famer and all of that, but he's been bad all season. Not only lately, it's been all season he's like that, and he's been for the past 2 or 3 years or so as well. And so that's why I think they really got to look into getting Wisenhunt up here. I mean, sooner rather than later.
That's Bert, that's another thought. When you're going in from a month now into the trading deadline, that we're going to find out if Justin Verlander is going to be a part of this rotation, if he's going to be able to go 4, 5, 6 innings, because that's going to be a spot where you might pick up another starting pitcher to fill that spot. We just don't know what the outcome is with him and how much more he's got in his tank. Would they bring up Carson Wisenhunt to fill his void? Those are all things down the road, just like when Matt Chapman's going to come back. I think they're going to wait and see how effective he's going to be before he starts throwing the ball and hitting with his right hand. Today he was fielding the ball. He wasn't throwing. That is a big miss in this lineup.
Yeah. And again, getting back to the pitching side, I worry also when we lost Hicks and we lost Harrison, obviously it's good we got Devers. There's no doubt about it. So we have to give those guys up. But, with Jelly coming in and with
yeah, you're absolutely right, Bert. You lost a couple pitchers. Jordan Hicks, for 2 years, we didn't know if he was a starter or reliever. Of course, when Farhan signed him, he signed with a 3-year deal that he wanted to be a starting pitcher. So, of course, Buster Posey, Bob Melvin said, no, that's what he did when he signed here. And he failed, so they had to put him in the bullpen. And that's where Kyle Harrison and Birdsong jumped into rotation. When Verlander also went on the IL, so you had a lot of youth in the rotation. I just think sometimes you start looking at these young guys and they're pressing a little bit. And how do you get them away from pressing? You got to score more runs. And this is something that they're going to have to generate because it's so much easier, just like with Landon Roop, he had a 3-run lead. he was easy going after the, when you're looking at pitch count, 6 pitches in the second, 10 in the third, 17 to finish it out. Those are good quality innings.
Yeah, yes, it was. Okay, and then one final thing regarding the batting order. I mean, I'm just amazed at how often Bob Melvin switches things around. But one thing I mean, we somehow we need Jung-Hoo Lee to bat number 1. I mean, I know he's like a street swinger and stuff, but he got to learn to be a little more patient because,
I agree.
I mean,
5 for 40, that's I just think, Bert, I was listening to John Miller, and John Miller was talking about Jung-Hoo Lee, and he said, in Korea baseball, you had a day off every week. They gave you a day off. The schedule is a grinding schedule here, and he thought he might have been wore out a little bit with the day off today, and of course Jung-Hoo Lee jersey or whatever hoodie you're giving out tomorrow, he'll play tomorrow. I think you're going to see a little bit more time off with Jung-Hoo Lee if Johnson does play center field, and giving him a little more time to reboot, because the swing path, and you're talking about it and as well as I have, it's a lot of fly ball outs and a lot of ground balls at second base. We need him to hit that 5-hole, that 5.5 hole where he goes to left field a lot, as well as hitting down the right field line. I think he's just pulling so fast. He's swinging so hard, and that's not the Jung-Hoo Lee we've watched.
Yeah, okay. Well, again, thank you very much. Always good to talk to you.
Always pleasure to talk to you, Bert. Always good baseball talk, and thanks again for calling in from Hawaii. I appreciate your time. Let's go to Andrea in Berkeley. Andrea, are you having a good Saturday? The Giants end up winning 3-2, a good win by the Giants.
Yes, I'm having a great Saturday. That was just, I'll tell you, the baseball gods and goddesses have their unique sense of timing, and I knew it was just a matter of time before Devers hits his first home run against the Red Sox. Really, that was...
That had to feel good, don't you think, when he was rounding the bases, and he wants to put another one out there tomorrow. At the end, you listened to the NBC player of the game, and he was very happy. He was just like, I just want to win. That's what I'm here for. And the other thing he said is, we'll get it going. And, I talked about this last Sunday about people asked me where he would hit in the lineup, and Bob had him in the 3-hole. He hit the number 2 hole, all with the Boston Red Sox. And back in my day when we pitched, a number 3 hitter was always your best hitter. Now as analytics come in, the number 2 hitter is really your best hitter. I think that's why Bob put him back in the second spot where he's more comfortable with, and it worked out with the home run today.
Oh, yeah. I mean, he was born October 24, 1996, and Scorpios, they never forget a slight. So that was like a little perfect revenge. Even George Contos was talking on the post-game show about how he got his former team back, a little bit. So, yeah, this is, really good timing for him. His Saturn return, his cycle of increased ambition. And, this was just really nice to see him hit his first of many home runs for the Giants. And, as it would turn out, it was against the Red Sox. And, we needed everyone we got today. So that worked out really perfectly.
Giants now, Andrea, the Giants now are 11-8 in the month of June. Of course, in May, they were one under 500. And we start looking at more numbers, 17-15 against the American League. They do have the White Sox next weekend in Chicago to end up with this AL Central. The AL Central, they're only 2-10 against them. And, of course, the White Sox, hopefully they can take all 3 in Chicago. But now you're starting to get back into the Diamondbacks in another week or so. You're starting to get in a little bit more in the NL West. The Dodgers again in first place. The Padres have fallen back a little bit. But the Giants just have to stay in this race. I think that's the key point, and try to win series. And tomorrow will be a big game for them.
Right. Well, of course, we're hoping for a Sunday fun day and to get the series from the Red Sox. That would be really ideal. So it's been exciting.
Would be great. Andrea,
baseball.
Thanks for the call. It's always a great catching up with you, and we'll catch you maybe tomorrow on a fun day Sunday. But have a great rest of the Saturday, Andrea. Thanks for the call. All right, we're going to take a quick break here on the Extra Inning Postgame Show. Steve Kroner was supposed to be on the show last night with Sports Phone KNBR, but the game was so late and a lot of phone calls coming in, so he's going to join me now. Next up on KNBR as we take a quick break on the Sports Leader.
This is KNBR Extra Innings with former Giants right-hander Bill Laskey.
Sponsored by Lenardi's Markets of the Bay Area. Quite simply, the best.
Hear him on your Apple HomePod by saying play KNBR. Play KNBR.
All right, welcome back to the Extra Inning Post-Game Show on a Saturday afternoon. Giants win 3-2, up their record to 43-34. But I want to take a minute out of the show today and talk about my good friend Tim Flannery and the Lunatic Fringe. They're in Berkeley tonight for doing a benefit for Rocket Dog Rescue, a great event. Of course, he and his music are just so good to listen to. He'll be out in Berkeley tonight. And then tomorrow, right after the game, he'll be at the Commonwealth Club doing a concert. You can reach commonwealthclub.org, but you can also go on timflannery.com and take a look at what he's got going on for tonight and tomorrow. Very good friend, a good friend of the show, and Tim's been great in doing different events with me, and of course does a great job with the Lunatic Fringe. But they're up here in Northern California, so if you have time, take a look in Berkeley tonight and also in San Francisco tomorrow. timflannery.com. All right, I'm going to bring in my buddy today. Of course, we missed him last night. We had a lot of calls coming in as a late night show. Of course, we call him Late Night Steve Kroner. Well, today we're going to call him Afternoon Steve Kroner. Steve, how are you today?
Bill, I've been waiting for about 18 hours to get on. I'm doing okay. How are you?
I'm doing great. Good game today. Of course, some excitement in the top of the ninth inning with Camilla Duvall and Walker was warming up real fast, but he got out of it, and it was a meaningful game. I thought the Giants really needed this game, and when you look at the pitching from Roop to Rodriguez to Rogers, they were lights out.
I mean, Rodriguez and Rogers, I think people realize how good they've been this season, but maybe not. They're clearly both legitimate all-star candidates. And, I think each might have had one blow-up this season. Everybody's human. Mariano Rivera didn't convert every save. What Randy Rodriguez and Tyler Rogers done this season it's amazing. It's impeccable.
Well, Rogers hasn't given up a run in 14 straight scoreless innings. 14. Last time he gave up a run was on May 19th. I just love how Bob Melvin mixes up the velocity into Rogers and then velocity. Of course, the other night they had Rodriguez and Duvall end up the game in the 8th and 9th behind Webb. But this game, I thought it was really cool how he mixed it in with different speeds, different arm slots. And Camilo Duvall just struggled a little bit, but he ended up getting his head on his shoulders and making some quality pitches, because the first couple hitters, I thought he was just throwing and he wasn't hitting spots.
Well, the one thing I'll say in his defense is, to me, the most frustrating thing for a closer, if you're watching a closer, either as a fan, media member, or his teammate, is if he's not throwing strikes, as if he's nibbling. And that has been a problem for Camilo in the past, where he gets behind 2-0 or 3-1. That wasn't the case today. Sometimes you got to tip your cap to the opposition. The Red Sox have some pretty good hitters. Now, the first couple of pitches weren't great, but at least he wasn't walking guys. He wasn't getting behind hitters. He just, just got hit for 3 base hits in a row. But to me, that's more acceptable than, ball 4, ball 6, ball 8, and then you're really in trouble.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I was really worried a little bit about Landon Roop, especially his last outing against the Dodgers. Well, he only went an inning and 2/3. He walked 5, only gave up 4 hits, 6 earned runs. He just didn't look good that night, and that was against the Dodgers. And in L.A., the lights were on him after Webb threw a gem on Friday. He goes out on Saturday, and literally from the first 2 pitches, he was all over the place. Today, looked like he slowed down a little bit, saw the pitches a little bit more on the outside corner, down, especially down, which the Red Sox hurt Birdsong with the balls up yesterday. But today it was the old Landon Roop, the one that we saw out of spring training, and how he threw like 6 or 7 straight good outings.
Bill, I want to pick your pitcher brain, so to speak, on this. So we were watching Hayden Birdsong last night, Landon Roop today, and having watched them, pretty much most of their starts, if not all their starts this season, who do you think right now is the better right-handed young pitcher for the Giants? And which guy do you think has a bigger upside?
You got to look at both of them. I'm still going to keep Roop and Birdsong even. I think both of them have dynamic stuff for both being 126 and 123. They just got to get out and pitch more. I think the confidence is what they have to build off of. Roop was throwing so consistent, and then he had a couple bad outings. Birdsong now has been up and down. Something that he's got to achieve, something that he has to get better confidence in. When he was dialed in the beginning of the year, when he'd come out of the bullpen, he looked like he had a little more thump in his pitches, a little more exciting. Today, yesterday he was kind of a little laid back on some pitches, and, that I think needs to be pushed a little bit more on him.
Yeah, I think, to me, you can make a case for either of them, and when we talked, I think about a month ago, we were talking about, are the Giants going to have to get a bat? And I kind of said, they would have to give up one of 4 guys, whether it be Roop, Birdsong, Harrison, whom they gave up, or Whisenhunt, to really get. I didn't think Rafael Devers was going to be available, but somebody of a big-time bat, you were going to have to give up one of those 4. And giving up only one to still have those 3 guys, 2 of them in the majors and 1 of them in Sacramento, I think that bodes very well for the Giants pitching going forward.
Oh, I totally agree. And, we've talked about Kyle Harrison on a lot of Friday shows. We talk about in the fastball slider mix was pretty good coming out of the bullpen. When you start throwing 3, 4, 5 innings, that third quality pitch has to come around, and he's going to have to get a better off-speed pitch. I talked to Andrew Bailey. You're going to hear it coming up here after we talk in an interview. And he talked about the third and fourth pitch, and they're really going to start working on a two-seam fastball for him and also an off-speed pitch. So Andrew Bailey knows Harrison very well. He had really nice things to talk about with both of them, Hicks as well as Harrison, and he outlays what the Boston Red Sox sees in both of them. And I had a great interview with him, and that's going to come on later in the show. But I think you're right. I think Harrison needs to come up with something else. He's going to have more length because he's got a good fastball and a good slider. Can he go deep into games? Can he pitch at Fenway Park? That's going to be a big question mark in my mind.
Yeah, speaking of Fenway Park, Rafael Devers obviously knew how to hit the ball to left field to get off the green to hit it off the Green Monster or over the Green Monster. The home run today might not have been a homer at Fenway, probably would have been a double, but he obviously has power, as Mike Krukow has said, foul line to foul line. That was an impressive at bat to take the ball the other way against Bello and against your former team and only your second game against your former team. I think that's the one play people will remember from this game 5 weeks from now, 5 years from now.
Steve Kroner joined me on the Extra Inning Post-Game Show for a few more minutes. You can follow him on X at Steve Kroner SF. Does a great job and does a lot of things with minor leaguers where he tells a story on some great players. So definitely follow him on X. The one player that really is catching my eye more and more, and he's only played 11 games, you'd think he's gone more than that, is Casey Schmidt, and how he's been putting at-bats together and what he's done in 11 games. Steve, the numbers are there, and it's really solid. 13 for 37, 3 home runs, 11 RBIs. This homestand alone, 6 for 17. He's putting the ball in play, and you just wonder what's going to happen at second base when Matt Chapman comes back. Will they put Casey Schmidt there? And then you got to look at Fitzgerald and Koss, and maybe one of them goes to AAA.
Yeah, I heard you talking about that earlier. To me, it makes sense right now. Casey Schmidt is clearly a better offensive player right now than either Koss or Fitzgerald. It doesn't mean that can't change. And Casey Schmidt has shown third base is his most natural position. That's the position he played in college. That's the position he played coming up through the minors. But he's certainly a serviceable second baseman. He's a serviceable shortstop, and he's been a serviceable first baseman. So I think, depending on when Matt Chapman gets back, I certainly think Bob Melvin and the brain trust for the Giants will consider putting Casey Schmidt at second base. I think that's at least got to be in the discussion.
Yeah, if you're looking down the road, Christopher Koss was sent down earlier, and then he came back up with injuries, and I think he might be ending up going back to Sacramento. And you got Fitzgerald, who can play good defense for one, and his speed is the plus on him. Fitzgerald's more of a second half hitting, player. Last year, he came on in the second half. And I'm just looking at his contact mode. He just seems like he's swinging through the ball too many times, and it's striking out a lot.
Well, yeah, I think he had that great stretch, I want to say in July last year, where he hit like 8 homers in 10 games and looked like he was going to be the infielder or the super utility man of the future, because he hadn't been at second base much last season. But then really toward the end of last season, the strikeouts became an issue for him. And I think that's still an issue for him. And I think if you're not going to hit a lot of home runs and you're playing a position at second base that you don't necessarily have to have a lot of power, but you should put the ball in play, I think that's an issue for him going forward. He's got to cut down on the strikeouts, put the ball in play a little more.
Steve, as we finish up here, it's going to be exciting to see Robbie Ray go against this Red Sox team with so many good left-hand hitters. I think the advantage goes to the Giants tomorrow, even though Lucas Giolito has been pitching lights out. 6 shutout innings against Seattle and Tampa Bay his last 2 outings. It'll be a good matchup tomorrow. What do you think about Robbie Ray against this Red Sox lineup?
Yeah, I think Robbie Ray against Lucas Giolito. If you're a fan of pitching, get out to Oracle Park or listen to KNBR or watch NBC Sports Bay Area, because that's a heck of a pitching matchup. And Robbie Ray, it's like to me, sometimes I think, what difference does it make who's called the ace of the staff? Because there's nothing definitive about it. Because you can make a very strong case that Robbie Ray has been the ace of the Giants staff this season, and you can make a very strong case that Logan Webb has been the ace of the staff.
Yep.
To me, it's kind of meaningless. They're both very good pitchers. They both have had great first halves, and Robbie Ray, it will be entertaining to watch him take the mound tomorrow.
Steve, they both could be on the All-Star team because they both pitched consistently this first half, and we'll find out tomorrow. But, hey, thanks for joining me on a Saturday afternoon. I know you've got a good golf game going on, and I appreciate you taking some time and joining me today. And sorry we had a little time restraint last night.
Bill, completely understood. Shout out to what used to be known as the Cobb Mountain Invitational. We're now in Twain Harte, so shout out to my friends who are here at Twain Harte.
Well, enjoy the day and enjoy the golf, Steve. You deserve it. All right, thank you so much, Steve. Coming up next, I sit down with the Hall of Famer Wade Boggs, and boy, what a career he's had. 18 seasons in Major League Baseball, 12 American League All-Stars, 2-time Gold Glove winner. It was in his late 30s when he won a Gold Glove, 5-time American League batting champion. I was thrilled when I got him on the phone and had a conversation with him. That's coming up next. Myself with Wade Boggs, the Hall of Famer. Boy, he was a great hitter. That's coming up next on the Extra Inning Post-Game Show right here on KNBR, the Sports Leader.
KNBR Extra Innings with Bill Laskey keeps the postgame rolling live right here.
Sponsored by Lenardi's Markets of the Bay Area. Quite simply, the best.
On KNBR 104.5 FM and 680 AM. The sports leader.
Welcome back to the Extra Inning postgame show with Bill Laskey. I'm very excited to bring my guest on. He played 18 seasons in Major League Baseball. 12 of those, he was an American League All-Star. 2 times he was a Gold Glove winner. 8 times a Silver Slugger Award winner. 5 times American League batting champ. And in 2005, he's a member of the National Baseball Hall of Fame. Let's welcome in Wade Boggs. Wade, how are you today?
Good, Bill. How are you?
I'm doing great. Pleasure to talk to you, and it's a pleasure to have you on the show. Have many Hall of Famers on, but I'm so excited to talk to you today, especially about your career, a .328 lifetime batting average. One of the things I did, I pitched in Major League Baseball. Some of the things that you did, I'm just overwhelmed at. One of the things I want to talk about is your contact hitter. You were a fantastic contact hitter. How did that all come about?
Well, probably dating back to the wiffle ball days and the cork ball days and basically my eye-hand coordination. Smaller the bat, smaller the object. We'd use broomsticks and corks and anything along those lines. And every day just playing wiffle ball and staying away from Nintendo and all that good stuff. But yeah, I think that and not having the fear of striking out, because growing up playing little league, senior league, high school, I never struck out, and I didn't have the fear of striking out, so I didn't have the fear of getting to 2 strikes. And when you know you're going to make contact, you can wait for the pitcher to make a mistake, and that's sort of the premise of what Ted Williams used to always preach was. Lengthen your at bat, and the more pitches you see, the more chance that the pitcher's going to make a mistake. And once he makes the mistake, then you jump on it.
Wade, knowing the pitch sequence, knowing the pitcher when you went up there to compete, knowing a little information, of course, back then we didn't have all the analytics. We pretty much learned about it. And you, of course, as a hitter, knew a lot about pitchers. What about pitch sequence? How did you know what pitchers threw at certain times?
Well, the thing is that Jack Morris, a Dave Stieb, a Dave Stewart, they're not going to reinvent the game. They're going to throw their best pitch at any given time. And the thing is if you face a Jack Morris, you know you're going to get a 4-seam fastball, an occasional curveball. Really didn't have a hard slider. His out pitch was a forkball, and hopefully that you could get to him before he got to 2 strikes, and then he had to throw that forkball over the plate for a strike. And I would say 8 times out of 10 he would throw it for a ball, and not leave it in the strike zone. So it was one of those that if you took his forkball, you better hope it went out of the strike zone.
Well, Wade, Jack Morris, you hit .349 lifetime off of. 8 doubles. Dave Stewart, .366, 10 doubles, 4 home runs. You saw their pitch very well. Left-handers sometimes gave you trouble, but not many, because I looked up and down your averages. You roped everybody. A couple lefties that you had problems with, David Wells, as well as Greg Swindell. Lefties that kind of went from the side. Tell me a little bit about why that was a problem for you.
Well, it was from a different angle, and normally I waited. I was a weight hitter anyway, waiting to hit the ball to let it get deep, and a lot of times when you got a sidearm and lefty, Mike Flanagan was one of the ones that his breaking ball, you couldn't hit it early, and you couldn't hit it late, and so that was probably the big difference that I found with side-arming lefties, that their breaking ball would run away from me, and I couldn't wait on it long enough that it was already out of the strike zone when I wanted to swing. And so I had to sometimes swing early, and coincidentally, if I swung early, then I would roll my left hand over and ground out to second. So majority of the time I grounded out to second off of those guys.
Wade, when you did batting practice, was there certain things you did every day to be able to hit from left field to right field, all across the diamond? Were there things that you did periodically during that batting practice?
Well, I would start out down the left field line and try to have underspin to keep it fair. I wanted to hit it off the wall 3 feet fair and not hit one down the line and have it go foul. And that way I knew my hands were staying true and through the ball and just work my way down the wall. And then probably the last, 10 or 15 swings, I would get really big and try to hit the ball out of the ballpark. And I knew that if I did that, that I had enough length in my swing to drive the ball into the alleys. And that's basically where I stayed, right center to left center.
Wade Boggs joined me on the Extra Inning post-game show. Defense was a big part of your game also. You won 2 gold gloves in 94 and 95. But one of the things you did is you turned a double play extremely well. In 84, you had 30 double plays, 87, 37, 89, 29. It was that big flip you had, that quick hand release. Tell me a little bit about the defense part of your game.
Well, I had the luxury of working with Johnny Pesky, and he would hit me ground balls every day, and we'd do it at the same time, rain or shine. I remember one time it was June or July, and it was drizzly rain outside, and I walked by his locker, and I said, "Johnny, we'll just go ahead and forego the ground balls today." He goes, "Oh, hell no." He goes, "I'll be there." And so I said, "All right." So we took ground balls in the rain. But yeah, I took a lot of pride in my defense. It was something that everyone said that I was a one-dimension player. He could hit, but he couldn't field, and a lot of people said that I would never play third in the big leagues. And so that was something that I took a lot of pride in, working on my defense, and became the oldest position player ever to win a Gold Glove. So it was very special to have Don Mattingly as my first baseman when I won those 2 Gold Gloves.
Wade, when you're talking defense, the biggest thing about third base is the one hand grab coming in, picking that ball up one hand and flipping it. Oh, I know you talked about Johnny Pesky. Is this something that you really worked on? Because that's a hard play for a third baseman.
No, actually, it became easy for me because I was growing up a shortstop, and a lot of times I wouldn't use a glove on a slow roller to short. I would come in and field it barehanded and throw to first. I would never scoop it with a glove and then try to exchange to the bare hand. I would always charge it from short and use the bare hand. And once I went to third, that was sort of the normal play that you came in and didn't really have to use the glove. Unless it's a bouncing ball, but if it's staying close to the ground, just barehand it and make the throw.
That voice you hear on the Extra Inning post game show, the Hall of Famer Wade Boggs. I want to go back in time with you, all the way back to Plant High School, because I reviewed this and I had to chuckle a little bit. You played football and you were an all-state football player, but you also were a left-footed place kicker and a punter. How did that work?
Well, that was a decision I made my senior year. I was a quarterback my sophomore and junior year, and actually had a college offer from University of Pittsburgh with Johnny Majors to be a quarterback, and so I thought that if I wanted to know where my bread's buttered, I would stick to baseball. And I took a beat in my junior year, and that was sort of a problem. And I went to my head coach, Roland Acosta, and said, "Hey, coach, I'm going to do all the kicking this year, and you're going to have to find another quarterback." And he really wasn't too pleased with that, but it worked out really well. I did all the kicking that year, and actually we did a couple fake field goals, and I threw some touchdowns as a place kicker. So I got to do a little quarterbacking as I was a place kicker, and then wound up making All-State in 2 sports, baseball and football. So it was a lot of fun, and I'm glad I played football. And it was an avenue that I could have gone down that road, but I knew that I'd have a much better career in baseball.
Wade, what was the farthest place kick? How was the farthest you hit?
I had a 47-yarder,
Wow.
and we were going into we were playing Hillsboro one time, and we were going in just before halftime, and I looked at it and I said, let's try a field goal. And I said, it's only 53 yards. And I looked at it, measured it wrong, and forgot the 10 yards in the end zone. It was going to be 63, and it went right under the goalpost. And I just missed a 63-yarder. So, yeah, that would have been a really neat deal to tie the NFL record at 63.
Very interesting back in the day, too. Let's go back in a little bit more. You play two sports, and, I talk to a lot of kids about playing baseball 12 months a year. What do you think about that? And do you think, kids should play multiple sports?
I'm all for multiple sports. It gives a different perspective of team unity, because baseball is more or less an individual sport. But once you get into basketball, football, various other sports, it becomes more of a team game to where you have to throw a block for somebody, or something along those lines. There is a burnout factor for kids playing year round with baseball. It's not one of those sports that the more you play, the better you get. In some cases it is, but there is a burnout factor, and I see it. I coached high school baseball here in Tampa for 21 years, and kids are done at 18 because they've played so much travel ball, so many different types of league baseball, that once they get to the college age, baseball is not fun anymore. And so you still have to have that hunger, and there is a burnout factor.
Wade Boggs joining me for a few more minutes on the Extra Inning Postgame Show. I want to go back to your 5 times American League batting champion. And you said you taught high school. How do you teach consistency? Because your consistent numbers back in the day in 83, 361, 368, 357, 363, 366, you touted a couple years at batting 400. What was the mindset each day going in there? Because you had to really think about 1, 2, maybe 3 hits, and those were consistent each year.
Well, that was the good part about playing in Fenway Park is having the highest lifetime batting average in Fenway Park, and beating out my favorite hitter, Ted Williams, by a few points. But I knew that I had the wall over there, and it would be difficult to shut me down on any given day because I played 81 games there, and I utilized the wall to my benefit. And I sort of forgot about yesterday. That was the big thing. I would treat each day as its own self, and not get caught up in, well, I'm 1 for 11, or I'm this, and I never truly went into any prolonged slumps, and just treated each day individually and trying to get the most out of each and every day, and then move on to the next day and build upon what you've done the day before, or keep the same feeling and keep riding that wave. And basically that's what streaks are. They're waves that are going to find the beach, and then you just jump on another wave and ride it to the beach again.
Well, 3 times you had 5-hit games. 5 times you had 4-hit games. I guess the wave was rolling real good those days.
Yeah, and I think 2 of the 3 5-hit games were against Minnesota, so they were fun to hit against.
As we finish up with Wade Boggs on the Extra Inning Postgame Show, a member of the National Baseball Hall of Fame. You were our first ballot Hall of Famer in 2005. As we finish up here, if you had to look in baseball and look in the rearview mirror, how would you thank Major League Baseball for the career you had?
Oh, it was, well, every little leaguer dreams of that day, and growing up watching it on TV and listening to the radio, Milo Hamilton and Ernie Johnson, and my dad's 67 Comet, and listening to the Braves games. It's all that you want to do, and you just start looking at that light at the end of the tunnel, and you don't really play your career to the fact that you're playing for the Hall of Fame. Your biggest thrill is just to make the big leagues, and then the next thrill is becoming a starter, And then your next thrill is becoming an all-star. And then I think your final piece of the puzzle is becoming an established player and putting up numbers that are worthy of the Hall of Fame and having a healthy enough career over 18 years to allow myself to do that. So yeah, Major League Baseball is I'm so grateful and made a decent living. I didn't make the monopoly money that they're making nowadays, but God bless them. I mean, we paid the path and went on strikes and work stoppages to allow these players nowadays to reap the benefits.
Wade, it was a pleasure to have you on the show today, and continued coach or whatever you're doing, playing golf or having fun down in Florida. But it was a pleasure to talk to you, and congratulations on a great career.
Thanks, Bill. I appreciate it. Have a great day.
Yep, that was
All right.
Wade Boggs on the Extra Inning Post-Game Show. More coming up right here on KNBR, the Sports Leader.
Bill is back.
Fired up, bringing it, all excited.
This is KNBR Extra Innings with Bill Laskey.
Sponsored by Lenardi's Markets of the Bay Area. Quite simply, the best.
Listen on your Google Home smart speaker by saying play KNBR.
3-2 pitch. Swing, and there's a high drive into deep left center field. Way back there, still going back. Sedan at the wall. Adios! Pelota! Into the Giants bullpen for the first run of the game. 20-30 feet to the right of the 399 marker and into the Giants bullpen. His 13th home run of the year. And he hit that one against a guy who does not give them up very often.
Welcome back to the Extra Inning Post-Game Show with Bill Laskey. Hopefully you enjoyed that interview I did with Wade Boggs, a classic boy, oh boy, National League, a National Hall of Famer. Very cool and a great time I had with Wade Boggs before the interview and just the conversation I had with him, but hopefully you enjoyed it. Today, let's review the game a little bit. Giants win 3-2. Landon Roop threw really well today. 6 innings, shutout ball, giving up 3 hits, 3 walks, 7 strikeouts, 90 pitches, 56 for strikes. On one of his post-game remarks, he talked about the Dodger game. He said, I usually look at video. I usually look at what I did right and what I did wrong. He said, I flushed it. I didn't even want to see it. It was a terrible outing. And I love that. I love that about a young kid that said, no, this is something I was not comfortable with that game. I didn't have my good stuff. Today, he was focused, and he got his 5th win. He's 5-5. 2 shutout innings with Randy Rodriguez and Tyler Rogers, 6 up, 6 down with both of them. Camilo Duvall gets his 12th save. He got in a little trouble in the 9th inning, giving up 2 runs, but he got out of it. And Giants prevail with a 3-2 win. Home runs by Elliot Ramos, his 13th. And the first home run by Rafael Devers, and that happened in the 3rd inning, a 2-run home run after an error by David Hamilton by Kisner, and that was the game winner. The Giants ended up winning 3-2. They're now 43-34. Another one-run game. They've had 34 one-run games. They're 19-15 in those games, 17-15 against the American League. They'll do it again tomorrow. Robbie Ray on the hill for the Giants. Giolito, it will be on the mound for the Red Sox. 1:05 first pitch right here on KNBR. Join me in the morning. I'm going to be doing the warm-up show at 10 a.m., filling in for Kerry Crowley. And I got a great list of guests. I'm going to have Chris Alvarez on from Channel 7 to give me his insight on what the Giants have been doing and his thoughts on Rafael Devers. I've also talked to P.J. Milteri. And you'll say, who's that, Bill? Well, he's the hitting coach for the Sacramento River Cats, and we're going to find out a little bit about some of the bats that are down in the River Cats and how they're doing, especially we always talk about him, Bryce Eldridge, and he gives a great, great definition on a lot of things he's doing good and a couple things he's got to improve on. So I'll have him on tomorrow morning, along with Mark Hallberg. Mark Hallberg's the first base coach. He's also working with Matt Williams with Rafael Devers at first base. So a little insight on what they're doing to prepare him to play first base. And we talk about base running, a couple blunders they've had and what they're doing to correct those. And my other guest is Garvin Alston. He's the bullpen coach. I've known Garvin for many years, had him on this show many times. And we talk about the bullpen and using pitchers in different ways, different positions, different starts, and how he thinks that Bob Melvin and J.P. Martinez has been working his bullpen. As you know, it's the best in Major League Baseball. All right, coming up next, I sit down with Andrew Bailey, a good friend of mine, who was the pitching coach here under Gabe Kapler for many years, and now he's in Boston, and he had a part of this trade. And when they tried to get Kyle Harrison and Jordan Hicks off the board, and they successfully did it. And we talk about the Red Sox and what he's been doing over there. So that's coming up next. I sit down with Andrew Bailey, did that yesterday, and we had a great conversation. So that's coming up next right here on KNBR, the sports leader.
The game may be over, but we know you want to talk more ball. So KNBR Extra Innings with Bill Laskey continues.
Sponsored by Lenardi's Markets of the Bay Area. Quite simply, the best.
We are KNBR 104.5 and 6.8, the sports leader.
Welcome back to the Extra Inning Postgame Show. My guest today was a two-time All-Star with the Oakland Athletics. He was also the American League Rookie of the Year in 2009. He was a pitching coach under Gabe Kapler. Now he's with the Boston Red Sox under Alex Cora. Let's bring in Andrew Bailey. Andrew, how are you today?
Hey, good. How you doing today?
I'm glad to get to hook up with you and talk about this Red Sox Giants weekend series. But before that, I want to go back when you were a rookie and with the Oakland Athletics. You won Rookie of the Year. You had 26 saves, a 1.8 earned run average. The following year, you followed up with 25 saves with a 1.4 earned run average. With those both years under your belt, that has to give you some energy as well as some knowledge for some of the young pitchers that you have worked with.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, having success early in my career, was obviously a blessing. It gave me, a lot of confidence going into a league that I was very obviously unfamiliar with. And as I take that kind of experience into, my new career path, being able to kind of shine some lights on the ups and downs and, of those seasons and then obviously, beyond, it's very impactful and it's helpful to be able to lean on those experiences when working with younger players, that come up and down from AAA and the minor leagues. And but yeah, for me personally, those 2 years, were very memorable for myself from looking back in my career, because of the on-field success. But just very fortunate to have that opportunity with the Oakland A's, in 2009, 2010.
Well, Andrew, I got to get your thoughts. Of course, the Athletics have moved out of the Oakland Coliseum. Now they're playing up in Sacramento at Sutter Health Field. A lot of complaints from visiting team as well as the home team. It's a difficult place to pitch as well as play. I don't know if you guys got there yet, but tell me your thoughts on the move.
Yeah, no, we haven't played there yet. I always, I really do enjoy going back to the Bay Area. Through my travels throughout baseball, anytime I end up in San Francisco, or in the Oakland area, it's always a special time for me. So, unfortunately, don't have those Oakland ties anymore, but the green and gold is something I'll always be proud of. I think it's for those that have been fortunate enough to wear those colors, know what it means to be an athletic. And so in that regard, really excited to get back and play the A's. Obviously, it'll be a little bit of a new experience, playing in Sacramento and with some of the things that are going on organizationally. But can't speak more about the people, the community that's within those walls, within the organization. From the player development all the way up to the major league staff. Scott Emerson, who's the current pitching coach, was my pitching coach in Double-A. And Garvin Austin, who's now with the Giants, was my pitching coach in High A with the Oakland A's. And so there's a lot of ties and a lot of people that I love looking forward to crossing paths with again. And then the fan base is super passionate. It's unique. I really enjoy it. It's a place where you're shagging BP and you just want to go talk. I know down the visiting foul line there in the Oakland Coliseum in years past, you just catch up with old fans that you've seen for the last 10 years or so. And it's a special place. So for me to go to Sacramento and kind of see the new digs there, obviously, yes, I've seen and heard some things, but for me, it's more meaningful than just the facility that we play in. I think Oakland, an athletics organization will always, have a special place in my heart because of people within it.
That voice you hear on the Extra Inning postgame show is Andrew Bailey. Of course, he's the current pitching coach for the Boston Red Sox. I picked up JP Martinez up and had a nice conversation about his new role here with the San Francisco Giants. And Andrew, he praised you for all the knowledge and all the experience that you taught him. Tell me a little bit about what you know about JP Martinez.
Oh man, JP, I love so much. I remember I remember going through the hiring process when we were looking for an assistant pitching coach, a handful of years ago, and JP just immediately, stood out to me as a guy I connected with and a guy I wanted to work with. Obviously coming from the Twins organization, he was able to share with me a wealth of knowledge about some of the ins and outs that they were onto or things that he learned. And be able to collaborate with him, and get a lot out of the pitching staff, we had in San Francisco was awesome. I learned a lot from him. It sounds like he learned a lot from me, but it's really just, collaborating with the people around you and giving them space to work, to be able to come to work and feel fulfilled, I think is really important. And I think those are maybe some of the things that he learned. And as he, gets further into his, pitching coach career and as he's heading up kind of, that infrastructure in San Francisco now, I think, he's been able to collaborate with those around him and work with a wide variety of pitching coaches, and really lean on the people around him as well, to seek advice, to help players move forward.
Andrew, last weekend, the Boston Red Sox and the San Francisco Giants made a pretty large trade, a blockbuster trade. The Giants getting Rafael Devers, the Red Sox getting Jordan Hicks, Kyle Harrison, and a couple pretty good minor leaguers. I really want to hear your insight on Jordan Hicks first, because Kyle Harrison's another one you had a lot of tutelage with. But tell me what you think about Jordan Hicks coming over to be a Red Sox.
Yeah, really excited to get Jordan on board. I know he's currently, kind of going through the rehab process. We'll get him, kind of acclimated back into some into some games here shortly, and hopefully join us, soon. But yeah, I mean, obviously, a lot of success as a reliever, early on in his career. Excited to get him on board. Kind of, see where he's at. I remember having a free agent call with him a couple years ago, when we were excited to kind of have an opportunity to sign him when he was a free agent. And he's an exciting arm. It's a live arm. There can be some whiff in there. He's used to high leverage moments, and for where we're trying to go as an organization, as a team this year, he fits in really well to the back end of our bullpen, or in kind of a little bit of maybe a multi-inning role. But he's a Swiss Army knife back there, and looking forward to getting him acclimated with the team.
Well, Kyle Harrison, 23-year-old lefty, you had some experience with him through the minor leagues, and a very likable player, very emotional when the trade went down. A lot of players hugging. Of course, we talk about JP Martinez. They have a picture of him just hugging each other, both from in tears. Logan Webb was one of his mentors. Of course, Kyle Harrison was a big part of this trade. What do you see in him, the big 23-year-old lefty?
Yeah, I mean, I honestly couldn't be more excited to get Kyle, over here in Boston. Ecstatic that he was a part of that trade. For me, it's an elite fastball. The vertical approach angle is off the charts. I know the person as well, and the person is off the charts. And you couldn't ask for a better guy for me to be able to kind of reconnect with. For me, Kyle is a hard worker. He surrounds himself with the right people. He leans and trusts on those people around him, and he goes about his business the right way. For such a young kid getting into professional sports, there's so many different pathways that he could have went, and he's determined. He's a competitor. He's a fierce competitor. He wants to be great, and he challenges himself. And as a coach, you don't want anything else than someone that's going to invest in themselves, that believes in themselves, and he has all that. And he is still 23, and he's going to be a top end of the rotation arm for a long time. And I'm really excited to have the opportunity to watch him compete again, and be able to work with him and help him along his journey.
A few more minutes with the pitching coach of the Boston Red Sox. That's Andrew Bailey on Extra Inning Postgame Show. Let's dive into this Red Sox bullpen, because you got three fantastic arms that have been really throwing the ball well. Let's talk about the first one, Justin Wilson, a left-hander, been in over 30 games, 2.16 earned run average. He's got elite stuff.
Yeah, Justin and I go way back. When I was rehabbing with the Yankees, we were actually in Major League Spring Training together. So kind of a former teammate of mine, and we kind of joke about that. But yeah, I mean, for a guy that's been around so long, I mean, what he's doing on the field is fantastic. But it's really what he's doing, in and around the clubhouse, the culture, of that bullpen, helping guys along, helping them be vocal, communicate. It has been fantastic. So obviously, it's a high ride fastball, gets up to, 96, 97 at times. He's got a really good slider, downer slider that, he locates really well to both righties and lefties. He's got a little cutter, and he's got a split in there that continues to be a work in progress, but is absolutely has utility in his arsenal. And he's a strike thrower. He strikes guys out. And you can put him in against, lefties, righties, and in the highest leverage situations, and you trust him.
Another right-hander, Alex Cora, goes through a lot for that setup role is Greg Weissertz. He's been in over 35 games, punch-outs almost equal to the innings. What does he bring to the table when he comes in a game?
Yeah, he brings a unique look. He's got, some of that vertical approach angle, the four seam. He's got a unique sinker profile. He's got a whole host of pitches. He's got a little curveball. He's got a slider. He's got a sweeper. He's got a changeup. He's got a really robust arsenal for kind of a one plus inning reliever. But it speaks to his quality and his work ethic. He's a self-driven guy. Was able to kind of find some things on his own over the years. I'd like to think that when he got to San Francisco, we helped push him in certain directions, and he's really taken off this season. Last year, he was up and down a little bit, had some flashes in the pan of a lot of success, but we couldn't sustain it from the strike throwing ability. And Greg's really taken off this year. He's really invested himself. He's put the pedal to metal, so to speak, and has been very, very reliable for AC every single day, really, down there in the bullpen. And you can put him in the highest leverage situations, and you can put him in a fireman spot. There's a lot of things that he can do. He's a little Swiss Army knife out there for us.
Well, the closer is the veteran, Aroldis Chapman, and he can bring it. There's no question about it. He's been over in 30 games, over 345 saves in his full career. He just comes out there and comes right at you. There's no question. He's got the fastball. He's not afraid to throw it. What have you seen out of him? This part, we're not even halfway through the season, but he's got close to 15 saves.
Yeah, Aroldis is a professional through and through. I, to be honest, haven't seen, someone with the routines as dialed as he is on a daily basis. The how he knows himself, the way he goes about his work, is literally off the charts. I honestly haven't seen it. I wish I had that discipline, the consistency that he had when I was playing. It's unfathomable. And people ask me all the time how he's been able to stay healthy for as long as he has as a major league. And it goes credit to him in terms of knowing himself, knowing his body, the work ethic, and yeah, I mean, getting up to 103, 104 is unbelievable. I wouldn't want to stand in the box. And he's also got a little bit of a slider in there. He's got a splitter that he uses. But really, it's the two fastball shapes in terms of the four seam and the two seam that do the bulk of the work for him.
Well, Andrew, as we finish up here, I want to talk a little bit about the pediatric cancer research you're working on. Is there anything that the fans can participate in, any kind of donation or anything? Because I think this is really, really top notch and all the time you put into it.
Our chief baseball officer, Greg Breslow, has a foundation, a Strike Three Foundation, that, over the years when we were teammates in Oakland, I tried to just help support, he's continuing the charge there with research. He's done a lot of different projects with Yale and a variety of hospitals over the course of the years. And, just be on the lookout for any activities, any events that always come up. He always has a wiffle ball tournament, after the season ends, up in the Northeast. And so any way they can help, strike3foundation.org, and anything and all matters. And we appreciate it.
Well, I thank you for your time, Andrews. Continued success. You're doing a great job in Boston as well as you did here in San Francisco. And it's always a great pleasure to catch up with you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
That was Andrew Bailey on the Extra Inning post-game show. More coming up right here on KNBR, the sports leader.
Hi, it's former Major Leaguer Buddy Biancalana. It was my zone experience in the World Series in which I played the best of my career that led to being the founder of Zone Motion, the only mental training program proven through research and studies to enhance performance and expedite development for athletes of any age. Whether you're a professional or any level amateur, regardless of your sport, Zone Motion is for you. You can check out this life-changing program at zonemotion.com. And go Giants!
You're listening to the former Giants righty. It's KNBR Extra Innings with Bill Laskey.
Sponsored by Lenardi's Markets of the Bay Area. Quite simply, the best.
Heard on your Apple HomePod by saying play KNBR.
All right, welcome back to the Extra Inning postgame show on a Saturday afternoon as we finish up a great show. Giants were the leader of the game as they won today 3-2, 3 runs, 4 hits, 1 error for the Giants, 2 runs, 6 hits, 1 error for the Boston Red Sox. 2 home runs were the key to the success for this win. One by Elliot Ramos in the first inning, his 13th of the year, hit a 3-2 cutter for 400 feet. And then Rafael Devers hit his first as a Giant uniform, and he hit that in the third inning, a 2-run shot. He hit an 0-1 fastball, and he got his 16th home run on the year. On the pitching side, Landon Root pitched fantastic 6 shutout innings with only giving up 3 hits. Randy Rodriguez had a nice 1-2-3 inning. Tyler Rogers did the same. Camilo Duvall struggled a little in the ninth, but he still got out of it, giving up 2 earned runs. Landon Root got the win. He's 5-5, and Camilo Duvall got to save number 12. Tomorrow they'll do it over again, 105 right here on KNBR. Robbie Ray takes the hill for the Giants. He's 8-2 with a 2.6 earned run average. Going against Lucas Giolito, he's 3-1 with a 4.7 earned run average. Extra inning postgame show will follow that up. I had to sit down with Tyler Fitzgerald yesterday, and we talked a lot about the pluses and the minuses and how he's doing mentally of the slump he's in and what he's doing trying to keep positive and trying to get out of the slump. And so, great conversation with Tyler Fitzgerald, a good friend of the show. I want to thank my guests today, Wade Boggs, the Hall of Famer, Andrew Bailey, of course, the pitching coach of the Boston Red Sox, and Steve Kroner. If you miss any of those interviews, they'll be up on the All KNBR podcast. Join me tomorrow morning as I'm doing the KNBR warm-up show. Chris Alvarez from Channel 7, Garvin Alston, the pitching coach in the bullpen, P.J. Pilteri, he's the hitting coach for the Sacramento River Cats, and Mark Hallberg will all join me on the KNBR warm-up show that starts at 10 a.m. I'm filling in for the great Kerry Crowley. I want to thank my producer tonight, Kyle Hard, did a great job, as well as all you Giants fans giving me a call. It was a great conversation, as always. But as we finish up, be safe, be well, have a great rest of this Saturday night. Giants win today 3-2, and they'll do it again tomorrow at 105 right here on KNBR. Have a great night. More coming up right here on the Sports Leader.
It's another great outing for the righty on your home of San Francisco Giants baseball. This is KNBR Extra Innings with Bill Laskey.
Sponsored by Lenardi's Markets of the Bay Area. Quite simply, the best.
KNBR 105.